Okay, so we've just concluded our discussion in the last video on conflict management, and that is going to be a good place to start talking about our next topic of team diversity. Let me load that up. So, team diversity is probably the natural generator of that conflict we were just talking about. And, healthy conflict is a good thing. We want to avoid destructive conflict, but it's diversity of ideas, diversity of thought that tends to bring about conflict, both good and bad. And organizations today operate in very complex globalized markets, meaning that they rely meaning that if they rely on a solely homogenous team, which is a bunch of people who look alike and think alike, who don't have that diversity, that's going to probably miss out on some opportunities. So we want to have a diverse team, and that is a managerial skill, is establishing that team, assembling that team. So the core benefit of team diversity is in the unique perspectives, backgrounds, and experiences that the different members bring to the table. When you intentionally combine individuals with different career histories, different cultural norms, diverse life experiences, you're going to immediately improve the team's collective understanding of the problem and substantially broaden the scope of the potential solutions to that problem. One of the major organizational threats that diversity helps to combat is groupthink. In homogeneous teams, everyone tends to agree quickly, which can lead to rapid but often flawed decisions because ideas are not scrutinized sufficiently. Diversity naturally introduces differing viewpoints, yielding richer discussions and ensuring ideas face greater scrutiny. And it's this internal pressure cooker that, when it's managed well, when conflict is managed well, is fundamental to achieving superior team performance, as we discussed in the last video. All right. So one of the most, powerful but counterintuitive outcomes of team diversity is just how it shifts the team's cognitive behavior toward logic and facts. Research consistently shows that diverse teams raise more factual points during their discussions and ultimately make fewer factual errors compared to their homogeneous counterparts. So what does that mean? Differing viewpoints compels team members to proactively back up their assertions with concrete evidence. You can't just put something out there and expect everyone to agree because they know where you're coming from. No, you got to back that up. You got to have some evidence. Show me the proof. So when you know your idea is going to be scrutinized by someone who sees the world differently, you're perhaps going to be more diligent and anticipate challenges to your assumptions. And it's this inherent self-checking mechanism that forces the team to continually re-examine the facts, remain objective, and become much more aware of inherent personal biases that might otherwise lead to decision-making errors. And essentially, the mere presence of people who are different forces everyone to be more diligent and open-minded. For example, studies on jury decision-making have shown that racially diverse juries exchange a wider array of information and demonstrate fewer factual errors than a homogeneous jury of, say, all white people in the majority, simply because the presence of diversity pushed every juror into a deeper cognitive action where they had to back up their assertions with some factual finding. The economic impact of diversity is also measurable. A major study by BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, found there was a statistically significant and positive relationship between diversity in management teams and overall innovation. And we actually looked at this study in the diversity chapter, so I won't spend too much time on this, but there was a correlation here. If we look at the specific findings of their analysis, what we found is that the benefits of diversity are broadly distributed across a lot of different dimensions. They found that innovation boosts were not limited to one kind. There was diversity, and different types of diversity led to innovation boosts. So diversity in gender, diversity of nationality, diversity of their industry experience, diversity of the prior company background. All of this positively contributed to the success of their innovative efforts. And this positive effect was especially pronounced in the most complex organizations, like those that have many product lines or those that operate in different industry segments or across the world. Crucially, the BCG analysis also highlighted the danger of tokenism. The study discovered that the innovation benefits from gender diversity only became statistically significant once women held over 20% of management roles. Simply hiring one or two token women into leadership roles without any kind of meaningful inclusion wasn't enough to realize the full economic benefits that true diversity provides. So, to genuinely foster innovation, managers must create a strong sense of community that promotes openness to contributions from employees at all levels, ensuring that everyone feels free to speak their minds. So, given these clear advantages for problem solving and innovation, how do managers intentionally build and cultivate high-performing diverse teams? Well, first, diversity cannot be an afterthought. It has to be a core consideration during the formation of the team, which means managers have to intentionally select members not just for their technical skills, but for their varied experiences and backgrounds that they bring to the table. And then once the team is formed, managers have to then promote inclusivity such that everyone is feeling like they can communicate openly, that all the contributions are recognized, that this is a psychologically safe culture where internal biases are challenged and managed. So, it's easier said than done, but that's what you have to do. Building a diverse team is just the starting point, and managing it effectively through the intentional inclusivity is what really ensures that those diverse perspectives actually translate to superior business performance. All right. There are, I think I may have played that video when we had class. That is going to be it for this chapter. Like I said, that BCG study is one that we've talked about in the past. I just wanted to touch on it again. In the next video, we're going to wrap up this chapter with section 10.6 on multicultural teams. So I will see you in that one.